Doctor Strange saw 14 million possible futures and found exactly one where they win. But here's the mind-bending question nobody's asking. If he could see all those outcomes, did anyone actually have free will, or were they all just puppets dancing to the tune of cosmic inevitability? The Sorcerer Supreme didn't just peek into tomorrow, he accidentally proved that everything we think we choose was already written in stone. Strange's vision creates a philosophical nightmare that makes the snap look like a minor inconvenience. Either free will is an illusion and everyone was always going to make the exact choices they made, or Strange's knowledge somehow locked them into a predetermined path. Both options are terrifying, and the film's evidence suggests we're living in a universe where choice is just a comforting lie we tell ourselves. Consider the mechanics of what Strange actually did on Titan. He tells Tony there was no other way after giving up the Time Stone, implying that every single action from that moment forward was scripted. Think about the implications. When Quill punches Thanos and ruins their plan, was that really Peter's choice, or was Strange manipulating events by not warning him? The film shows Strange making a deliberate finger gesture to Tony, suggesting he's been orchestrating this entire sequence. This gets darker when you realize Strange essentially condemned half the universe to 5 years of suffering because it was necessary. He watched Tony Stark die 14 million times in his visions, found the one timeline where it served his purposes, and then guided everyone toward that exact outcome. That's not heroism, that's cosmic-level manipulation disguised as sacrifice. The most disturbing evidence comes from Strange's behavior throughout the battle. He never seems surprised by anything that happens, never adjusts his strategy, never tries alternatives. When Thanos breaks his mirror dimension trap, Strange barely reacts. When the snap happens, he calmly tells Tony it was the only way. This isn't the behavior of someone fighting for victory, it's someone following a script. But here's where it gets philosophically twisted. If Strange could see these futures, what determined which one would come to pass? The obvious answer is that his choices guided them toward the winning timeline. But that assumes Strange himself had free will while everyone else was locked into their roles. It's like he became the director of a movie where everyone else were unwitting actors. Fans love to praise Strange for his noble sacrifice, but they're missing the horrifying implications. He didn't sacrifice himself, he sacrificed everyone else's agency. Tony didn't choose to snap his fingers and die. He was maneuvered into that position by someone who'd already seen it happen millions of times. Natasha didn't choose to jump off that cliff, she was guided there by events Strange set in motion years earlier. The alternative interpretation is even worse. Maybe nobody had any choice at all, including Strange. Maybe his vision didn't show possible futures but inevitable ones, and he was just as trapped as everyone else. In this reading, Strange's sacrifice was just him discovering his own predetermined role in a cosmic play that was always going to unfold exactly as it did. Either way, the victory feels hollow. If Strange orchestrated everything, then the hero's courage and sacrifice become meaningless because they never had real choices. If everything was predetermined, then the victory was never in doubt and the drama was just an illusion. The Time Stone didn't give Strange the power to save the universe. It gave him the knowledge to realize that free will is a myth. The film even hints at this with Strange's final words to Tony. It was the only way, not "I chose this path" or "I found a solution," but it was the only way, passive voice suggesting that events unfolded according to some cosmic necessity rather than personal choice. Strange didn't win the war. He simply discovered that it was always going to end this way. This raises the ultimate question about heroism itself. Can you be truly heroic if your actions are predetermined, or does heroism require the genuine possibility of choosing differently? If Strange saw that Tony would snap his fingers in exactly one timeline out of 14 million, was Tony's sacrifice meaningful or just inevitable? Here's the question that should keep you awake at night. If you could see every possible future like Strange did, would you try to change the worst outcomes, or would you realize that knowing the future means it's already too late to change anything?